What's going on, everybody? Good evening to you all. Appreciate you guys stopping by. It's CowTech with me, your host, Zack Cater, episode number 2. So, hoping going to run a little bit smooth tonight. Again, if you caught the last, if you were tuning in from the CowRC fan page, I couldn't see any of your comments. I was trying something a little bit different. But we are on the CowRC main page on Facebook, as well as the YouTube channel for CowRC, which if you're tuning in on YouTube, please take a second, hit that like and subscribe button. Really helps out a lot. Helps get CowRC out there in the algorithm. That's right, RC for us, already on top of it. Hit that like and share button as well. The same thing if you're on the fan page for CowRC. If you don't care, share this out. Helps out tremendously. What's going on, Jason, man? Happy to have you here tonight. Adam, as always, thank you, sir. Thank you all for chiming in. Heath, the man right there, good evening to you, sir. So we're going to go ahead, get this show started, and get some information right here, right quick. Don't forget, wrong one, here we go. About the charity build giveaway. You guys can follow along with Adam and Tyler on that whole build. That'll be given away in February. And if you remember, it's just $1 a ticket to get in on that build. As well, one other thing to keep in mind. It's not on there, so I'll just have to show you in person. The new folding boxes that came out. These should be shipping out literally any day now. There's also some new skins that are available for the folding storage cases. So a skin in whatever theme that you want to go on either side of the boxes. And really, that's the only kind of new news that I have. What's going on? Thank you for tuning in tonight. RC4Os. Great, man. Love to see that you guys getting those tickets. Good evening, good evening. And remember, those charity tickets are just $1 a piece. So great way to get yourself a chance at an awesome rig. John Rogers, the little boxes, folding boxes, all are really nice. You can even fit some 8th scale stuff in there. And touch on one thing before I get going too awful far. You know, a lot of you guys that have tuned in have asked and messaged me about, hats, the CowRC shirt, but there's one other piece of swag that I want to bring up, and that's the CowRC bomber jacket. Some of you guys know that I was at SIC last week down in Alabama, and it was miserably cold most of the time, really rainy and wet on Friday, and windy. And if you're looking to show off a little bit more of your CowRC pride, the bomber jackets are a great way to do it. Obviously, this is other side, one of the factory team jackets, so you don't have this logo, but this was actually a giveaway for factory team members last year, and I'll show you the back side of them for anybody else that's interested in apparel. Obviously, the CowRC logo. The ones that are on the website obviously don't have the factory team on them, but jackets are incredibly warm. Especially with a hoodie underneath of them. No issues really dealing with the cold last weekend. So if you're looking for any other kind of swag, apparel from CowRC, just go to the website, hit that apparel tab, and drop down, and everything's listed there. Absolutely, man. It's a very comfortable jacket. Love the bomber collar on it. Very nice and comfortable. So what I'm going to be going over tonight is going to be all about, for the most part, the parts and chassis wash. And my goal and my intention is to kind of give you the mindset of post-race tear down and cleaning. Obviously cleaning first. But I've actually got 2 buggies here with me tonight. I have my own personal buggy that I have not cleaned up since last week in Alabama. And I've got a friend's buggy over here that has not been cleaned up since about the middle of November last year. from a local race. So I really appreciate him loaning me his buggy to help put on this show and kind of demonstrate to you guys a couple of different ways that you can get a really quick, efficient clean out of your buggies after a race. And me personally, before I put anything down on my mat for like full tear down maintenance, I always give it at least like a quick 5-minute clean. So laid out here before me on the big 24x30 carbon series map is the chassis wash, the USB sprayer, and the reservoir brush that are all from CowRC. The chassis wash comes in 2 different size containers. You've got the 16 ounce and you've got the 32 ounce. Now, depending on how you want to mix your concentration, with the 32 ounce jug, you can get up to 10 gallons of actual usable product out of it, because keep in mind, these are concentrates. And with the 16 ounce jug, you can get up to 5 gallons. Jason, good evening to your brother. Thank you for tuning in. So you've got a couple of different options just on what size container that you want to purchase. And honestly, I'm a big fan of the 16 ounce containers because they're great for travel size. Whenever I run out of the 32 ounce container, I will refill a 16 ounce because it fits really well in the duffel bag. Mr. Ghost, nice to see you back here again. Thank you for tuning in, sir. And again, we're going to be doing this post-race cleaning. Hopefully maybe get to a little bit of tear down on my own personal buggy to show you a couple of key features and things. So first thing up, a lot of people always ask, how much chassis wash do I actually use? Where do I dilute it to? What ratio do I need to use? And ultimately that kind of depends on your conditions, whether you're into it, in the mud a lot, depending on your local tracks. With me racing in the Southeast, our stuff stays relatively clean, and I'll show you some really close-up shots of both of these buggies that I have. My buddy's is by far dirtier than mine. It is Sunday, Tyler. Thanks for hopping in, buddy. Appreciate it. So I'm going to swap this over here. And me personally, this is just a 2-quart jug. All that's in here is just regular old tap water. That's all I use. And the convenient thing with a 2-quart jug is that is the same capacity as the USB sprayer. So I can literally just fill up this 2-quart jug, have it on hand if I need to, and dump it straight into the USB rechargeable sprayer. And I'll show you guys all about the sprayer too. So on my little jug here, there's 56 ounces and 64 ounces. So I've got about 4 ounces right there to play around with. And for the most part, I am around that 3 ounce mark, sometimes 4 ounce, depending on how dirty things get. And that's been plenty for me. That's been a plenty enough, concentration ratio that's worked for me. And I'm going to use the same jug all night long so you guys can see that I'm not hiding anything. There's no tricks up my sleeve. I'm not cutting it with anything else. Move these out the way. And again, if any of you guys caught the last episode, you remember that basically the parts and chassis wash is what started it all for me with CowRC. I'm just going to give this just a little shake just to kind of mix it up. That's about it. But a couple of key notes on the parts and chassis wash to keep in mind. Move this back over here. It's non-corrosive. That's a big thing. It's not going to hurt your plastics. It's not going to make them gray out. It's not going to strip any kind of oil out of them. Mr. Ghost, the ratio for me is basically what I'm not going to do fast math because I'm not that smart. But this is a 2-quart container, so 64 ounces. And let me zoom this in actually here for you. A 64 ounce container, I put about 4 ounces in it, 3 to 4 ounces. that's all I've ever needed. That's been plenty enough cleaning strength for me. But again, if you're, on a track and it's really muddy or something by chance, the nice thing is you can go higher on the ratio or lower to stretch out the product more. But that's kind of the sweet spot for me, 3 to 4 ounces in 2 quarts, which again is the same thing as the USB sprayer. It holds 2 quarts. So you can just literally dump 3 to 4 ounces in it, fill the rest up with water, and you're good to go. Yes, sir. You're welcome, Mr. Ghost. But the chassis wash, it's not going to gray out your plastic. That was a big issue that I had before using the chassis wash. The same thing. If you have anything that's anodized, like my own personal buggy, I'll show you guys. I've got some anodized hardware on it. The chassis wash is not going to affect it. It's not going to affect the finish on it, even after multiple uses. The one thing to keep in mind with the chassis wash, though, is it is not electronic safe. So I'm going to show you how I clean both of these buggies and basically stay away from the electronics. You can get a really nice clean without having to pull your electronics. Generally, that's something that I do maybe 4 times a year, pull the electronics all the way off of my buggy and, just do a complete full tear down on it. One other thing I wanted to mention. Yes, this actually got me. You guys that have been around a while, you guys probably know this, but basically the chemical composition of the chassis wash changed. I think maybe like 1.5 years ago. There used to be a wax component in the chassis wash, and basically the supply of that wax kind of like dried up. So if you haven't gotten any chassis wash in a long time, let's see, thought I'd actually said it on there, but the chassis wash now has a ceramic component in it instead of the old wax base. Yeah, good point. And again, you guys, I'm not knocking industrial cleaners. They're great for what they're intended for, but they're not for RC. And I'm going to bring up a big point that was an issue for me when I get to my buggy on using industrial cleaners. Raymond, hello. Nice to have you here for the show. And the last note on the chassis wash, if you leave it sitting out in the sun, like by chance, if you've got a spray bottle, just a kind of a spray bottle, and it's sitting out in the sunlight, UV light will affect this nice, pretty green, and it will make it a lighter color, but it does not affect the actual chassis wash. It still works just as great. So, if you're out racing on a sunny day and you come back to your pits and you see that, your bottle of chassis wash has changed colors, it's just a reaction with UV light from the sun. Check comments. So that pretty much sums that part up. Got a little rag. Clean off this. And we're going to get down into some cleaning. Mr. Ghost used to use simple green. The plastic got more brittle. I seem to leave a film. Yeah, and to be blunt, simple green is probably the most predominant thing, especially in my area, that people like to clean with. And that's honestly what I'd used before coming to CowRC. And anytime that I see somebody with simple green at the track cleaning, I kind of cringe now because I know what's happening. But I had the same issue with plastics graying out over time. And same thing, becoming brittle. So I'm going to set this off. I'm going to bring this guy up here. Now, again, this is my buddy's buggy. And let's actually go here. Again, this guy, and I'm going to walk this camera over here, has been sitting since November of last year. And this is good old South Carolina clay from one of our local tracks. And I'm not going to name who my friend is that is letting me use his buggy and clean it. But give you guys a good overall look. This guy is pretty stinking filthy, but again, I really appreciate my friend Carl for letting me use his buggy and give a good demonstration on this. Simple green. I have not tried that. Yeah, she's dirty, guys. So this is clay that's been sitting on here again for, since November. And I'm going to move this up to try to give you guys a really good angle of as I go through this. So, gotta find the right tab. I'm going to keep myself just down here in the bottom. Absolutely 2 months, totally petrified. Clay is definitely baked in there. So I'll pop my buddy Carl's body off. CJ, so funny you mentioned that. That could be a possibility. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use one of the detail brushes. Now these come in a 5-pack from CowRC, and if you remember in the last episode I done, one of the reasons I had bought this 24 by 30 carbon mat was specifically to be able to do this at home on my bench and be able to clean. Hope not. Hopefully I can do some justice here, but this is pretty doggone dirty. Smart. Hey, well, every show can't be about just cleaning, but hey, I will always be able to hook you guys up if I can. Oh, you're on the fence. Well, hey, hopefully this show will change your mind, Shane. So, again, all I'm going to be using is this is the number 14 size detail brush. These come in a 5-pack. And you guys just saw me mix up, my chassis wash right here. So I'm not going to dump this in my USB sprayer yet, because I'm going to do that on my buggy and show you guys how I clean it. Mr. Ghost, absolutely, sir. So again, I've shown you just how dirty this buggy is. And again, the nice thing with using the detail brushes is you can really keep everything away from your electronics. And we're just kind of going to go in here, sop this in nice and heavy. And anytime, you have like heavier deposits, stuff that's like really caked on, obviously anything that you can knock off just makes it a little bit easier. Anything that you can't, you can always grab one of the stiffer brushes from CowRC, which on Carl's buggy here, you're probably going to see me actually do that. And again, these detail brushes work in really nice. And keep in mind, it's one thing, just putting the chassis wash on and brushing it. But ideally, if you can just let it sit, usually for, 2-3 minutes, you're good to go. And I'm going to kind of make a mental note of this before I get too far. You guys saw how dirty this buggy was. All right, you're going to see a difference, again, with my buggy. Granted, it's dirty, but I keep up with it on the chassis wash. I also keep it always protected with the new slick silicone. Number 10, actually, yeah, the number 10's one of my favorite brushes too. It's kind of frayed out. Michael, absolutely, man. Anytime you guys need help, feel free, holler at me. I'll help you all that I can. And the same thing, I'll give you, my personal uses, ideas, and thoughts. And again, I'm staying away from all of Carl's electronics on his buggy here because, as you can see, that's a really nice Tekin ESC. That's a really nice Tekin motor he's got in here. So, you know, by all means, some really nice electronics. But if you are the kind of guy that, you know, maybe you do race in really muddy conditions, maybe you race in the rain, I would suggest you check out the Cow Formal from CowRC. It is a waterproof coating that basically comes in like what looks like a fingernail polish bottle with an applicator tip. And you can coat your receiver cases, you can coat your ESC with it. So just a way to give you a little bit of actual water protection. And again, I'm just really kind of sopping in the chassis wash here. And honestly, I don't know how well the camera picks this up, but you can see how instantly the chassis wash just turns orange from the clay. And again, this is the 24x30 carbon series mat. No worries at all, you know, about hurting the mat. This is kind of what it's designed for. Guy, I'm using the number 10 on my chassis plate and plate. Yep, number 10 is a really popular size. So we're just going to kind of keep working. Once I get around to the front side, you can already see how much this is coming clean. And if you guys don't know much about clay in the Southeast, reddish orange, and it will stain just about anything that it comes in contact with. Clay can actually be pretty hard to clean off. And again, staying away from the electronics. I'm not going to clean the center of the chassis because I don't want to mess with anything of Carl's here. But we can get a nice, quick and efficient clean just using the chassis wash. And it doesn't take long at all. This method that I'm showing here does take a little bit longer, but I think you do get a little bit deeper clean versus how I'm going to show you how I do my buggy and why I do my buggy my way. So the same thing, if you've got some harder areas to get to, you guys will see me forever sing the praises on this brush from CowRC. This is by all means one of my favorite ones, but like whenever you face plant, you know, into the face of a jump or something, shock towers always get packed with mud, and there's just a little bit up here that the detail brush just isn't quite getting off. So you can just grab yourself a little stiffer brush, hit those harder areas. And I'm going to let this sit here for a minute and soak in. Think it's clean. Wait until the southern clay dries. Yeah, clay bakes on like an adobe brick. Shane, any suggestions on what to purchase first since I'm on a budget? Race off-road with 1/8 scale truggy. Shane, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for, you know, a mat to work with? Are you looking for cleaning products, lubricating products, storage? CowRC is your one-stop shop for RC maintenance, man. So if you can kind of narrow that down a little bit, hopefully give you a little bit better answer. I hate about Southern Tracks. I can't say that word, guy. You almost got me. Yeah, clay is where it's at. Don't run in the rain. They'll have about a month of dry dirt. Game changer. Absolutely, Mr. Ghost. So, same thing. Is kind of letting this sit here for a minute, work its magic. And now, when it comes to basically cleaning off all the chassis wash, there's multiple ways you can do that. You can use a jet blaster. You can use the jet vac, which is actually what I'm going to be using. You can also use just one of the microfiber towels. You can get in there and just really dry everything off. And guys, keep in mind, this is just a quick clean. This is basically how I would clean my buggy before I actually, you know, disassemble it and tear it all the way down on the bench. So that's pretty good. Got a little bit in the shock thread. Shock threads always hold some dirt. And again, guys, I'm not going for like, you know, the concourse clean here. I'm going for just a nice, quick, overall clean to where I'm ready to tear everything down on the workbench. Let's see. Oh, comments went crazy right quick. Sample packs are awesome. Johnny, really skeptical spraying off my high-end Tekin electronics with the Move Clean, but after some reassuring words from Adam, give it a try. Yeah, when it comes to electronics, you're definitely going to want to use the Move Clean electrical cleaner and degreaser. I'm the same way. I use high-end electronics and always worried about any kind of issues with them, and I have had zero issues out of that. I'm thinking cleaning products like your sprays and fluids. Oh, cleaning products. Definitely, Shane. The parts and chassis wash. That's exactly where it's at. If you're wanting to clean stuff, you cannot go wrong with the chassis wash by any means. So, one last comment. A little does go a long way, and you'll kind of find that over the entire Cow RC product lineup. Look at the bottom of this thing, just clay everywhere. It really does not take a lot of product, to get results that you're wanting. And it doesn't matter if it's the chassis wash, any of the oils, the ultra thin oil, the ultralight grease. A little bit does go a super long way. Again, I'm just soaking this in. I'm really wanting to get this clay back wet and let the chassis wash do its work. I'm going to let this sit here for a second because there's one other thing I wanted to do. The reservoir brushes have a really nice stiff bristle to them. They are perfect for cleaning off your chassis, especially if you're removing your electronics. Generally, the top side of a chassis has a lot of cutouts in it. Before I make a huge mess and put this cap back on. And the reservoir brushes are great at getting down into all those cutout spots on chassis. So there goes the same chassis wash I mixed up earlier. Nothing, hiding here. Shane, yes, it is. Jason, I have seen yours, and I can kind of attest for that. I know how dirty your buggy gets and looks. But you can already see just right quick using the reservoir brush how much it starts breaking up the clay. Yeah, just dipping in the brush and cleaning it works great. It is a lot less mess, but I'm going to show you the other way that I clean on my own personal buggy. So that's pretty good right there. Yeah. All right. I'll kind of let this sit for a little bit. And what I'm going to do is grab the jet vac, blow this thing off, come back in here, another look at it. So I'm going to swap over to this screen. I'm going to grab my jet vac. So watch your ears, guys. You might want to turn the volume down a little bit, but this is the jet vac that I'm using. So enough of that. Give me a second to wipe down my Carbon Series mat. And one thing with the detail brushes, I do like taking the microfiber rags once they get really saturated and just kind of wringing them out a little bit. And again, I'll bring you guys in here and give you a quick look at the difference just a really quick clean can make. And again, guys, you saw me just clean it. Don't expect concours d'elegance perfection, because again, we're going for just a quick clean so we can get things taken, torn apart, torn down. Again, you're seeing me just kind of wipe off some of the excess with a microfiber rag. But you guys saw how dirty the bottom of the chassis was, so it would help if I would pull the other screen back up. So phenomenally cleaner on the chassis. The same thing. See how clean the arms are. We come around to the front side. This will focus. Now granted, this is a very well used buggy, so you've got a lot of the typical scarring and the plastics. Again, from the back side. Now obviously there's still clay down in the bottom of the spring cups. This is where you really need to take a buggy apart. The same thing like down at the diff cases. You can really get in there with one of the detail brushes or one of the stiffer brushes. But overall, just a nice quick clean, and you can see how effective the chassis wash is. I'll show you the bottom of the chassis one more time, how clean this came out. And again, the same thing, when you clean it, no squeaking. You might have a little bit of air in that shock, but no binding. Everything still works. Everything's still nice and smooth. And, that was just a quick 5-10 minute clean. Absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to show you guys is, you don't necessarily have to do a full-on tear down to get a really nice clean with the chassis wash. Just one second, fellas. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I've brought this up before. You guys that run oiled bearings, like me, that's why I run oiled bearings in my hubs. The parts and chassis wash, it's not a harsh chemical cleaner or degreaser, so you don't have to worry about washing the oil out of your bearings. You can really just get in there, and again, I'm going to show you guys on my buggy how I do things. You can really get in there and get a nice clean. Keep rocking those same bearings. You're not going to wash the oil out of them. You're not going to wash the grease out of them. Johnny Miller, straight edge flat brush works great to get down to. Yes. Man, that's an awesome point. That's one thing that I really love, and I'll bring this up to you. And I'm pretty sure I'm on the same page with Johnny. Again, my favorite brush. You can take this brush where it's so nice and thin and literally slide in here next to the outdrives. You can actually get between the CV shaft and the lower arm to clean right on your CV joints, especially on the rear. That's always a place where dirt kind of seems to collect the most, so you can definitely omit that. Awesome, John. I appreciate that. Thanks, RC, for the sample pack suggestions. Yeah, there's a ton of sample packs that he has come out with. Check those guys out because it's a great way to get a little bit of flavor of everything that Cow RC has to offer at a really affordable price point. Shane, absolutely. I don't know. This brush needs a name. And the only thing I can think of is the katana brush, because it's not shaped like a katana, but that's what I think of every time I pick it up. Absolutely love that brush. Cleaned your Mini-Max the same way? Absolutely, definitely. So, again, guys, I'll go in one more time just to show you guys. And after this recording's done, or this video's done, you guys can go back and compare a little before and after. So that's it for my buddy Carl's buggy. I'm just going to move this off to the side. And then I'm going to bring up my own personal buggy and bring it on here. Oh, we got some ideas. We got the eyebrow, katana, buddy Mark, the mohawk. So yeah, that's a great little brush. Now, the second way I'm going to show you guys how to clean, or a option for you guys to get a really quick, efficient clean, is going to be with my own personal buggy right here. And let me do this right here. We'll go full screen. So again, I haven't touched this since last week in Alabama for the Southern Indoor Championship. Body's still dirty on it. Apparently in the main, I found the only spot of moisture still left on the track because this arm back here is absolutely coated. And we'll go ahead and pull this apart and show you guys the inside. And again, I will get back to cleaning the actual body itself, but kind of go free-handed with this camera. So again, you guys can see the dirt that's on the front control arms. And again, just like Carl, I'm running nice electronics. So it's a brand new exhaust motor and a Reds ESC. So again, the chassis wash is not electronic safe. You can see all it's back here. This is not like South Carolina clay. This is like some Alabama potting soil. That's totally different. Give me just 1 second, fellas. Keep you guys from going dizzy staring at a moving camera. So let's go back. Power Move 6 silicone. Yeah. So if you noticed a big difference on my buggy, granted it's not apples for apples, the same race, the same buggies, but the Move 6 silicone does a phenomenal job at keeping that buildup of dirt and dust and clay at bay on your buggies. It's really no joke. Encourage you to absolutely try the Move 6 silicone. So the way that I'm going to do my buggy, and let me pop this back up here so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. The way that I'm going to clean my buggy is using just the USB sprayer. And this is a method that I really like to use, especially after qualifying rounds, after practice, you know, when you've got some downtime, but you're wanting to keep your buggy as clean as possible. Because keep in mind, especially with, you know, clay's heavy. If you start letting it pile up on your car, that's just unnecessary weight, you know, that's piling up on your buggy. And, you know, we're racing here. We're going for every last tenth of a second that we can get. Should have probably already had this part done, but I'll do a little bit of wrenching. Now, the one thing I do always like to take my wing off just because it makes it easier to get back into the tower. Let's see. Mr. Ghost sprayed my Mini-Max down with a silicone spray and ran it. Dirt and mud today. Absolutely. Silicone spray is a phenomenal way to really help reduce how much you have to clean. So I'll pop my wing off here. And now, using the USB sprayer, normally this is something that I would do outside, not in the garage. So I'm going to move this camera again, and I'm actually going to do this over a trash can to try to minimize how much of a mess I make out here in my garage. So if you guys could just bear with me for a minute. I'm going to move some stuff around. Again, trying not to make you guys disoriented or dizzy with moving everything. And before I forget, I do need to fill up my sprayer because I did actually clean my buggy off at SIC using the USB sprayer. So again, you've got a nice large flip top opening there. And I'm just going to fill her on up. And if you're curious about the battery life on the USB sprayer, I can generally let this thing go 3 months on average before I ever have to recharge it. The battery life on the USB sprayer is truly phenomenal. It's very impressive. And on the top of the sprayer, there is an LED indicator. It's probably not going to pick up with the light right here that shows you the charge level. So I'm going to swap over to this guy. And I'm going to do everything right here, trying to collect as much of the chassis wash as possible so I'm not making a huge mess on my floor. But again, you guys, you saw just how dirty the back of this buggy is. And we're going to hit it with the sprayer. And again, guys, this is just meant to be a nice quick clean. You get done with your rounds of qualifying. You get done with that early morning practice where everything's still. This is going to be your ticket to keep that weight off on race day. And again, with the nice extended tip on the USB sprayer, I'm keeping away from all of my electronics, and I'm just hitting the areas that I really want to hit. All right. And so the same way, it's going to let that sit there for a second. And then I'm just going to blow it off. And again, guys, I'm using the jet vac to do this. So watch your ears, fellas. All right, guys, give me a second to swap around the camera, and we will get back into the action. Not that one. Where'd it go? All right, just 1 second, fellas. So, if you were ever curious if this was a live show, this is definitely a live show, guys. And all this is in real time. So, again, move a couple of things out the way. I'll bring you guys in for a nice close-up of what the buggy looks like now. And again, I'm just going to do a quick wipe down. And again, with this method, you guys just saw, didn't brush anything, just literally using the USB sprayer and then blowing it off. But again, keep in mind, I religiously maintain my buggy with the Moose Slick silicone and the chassis wash. All I'm doing is just getting that last little bit of chassis wash that's still on here. Because no, I'm getting a little bit close on time, but there is something else I wanted to show you guys that was a really big pet peeve of mine when using industrial cleaners. So let me swap this back over and move this up. Nope, go down. One last thing, I'm going to pull this ticker off. If you guys have been hanging around this long, you guys know what we're doing on this show tonight. You just sold me on getting the big jet vac, constantly having to wait. The jet vac, man, yeah, it is absolutely awesome, Mr. Ghost, and it's nice to have that vacuum function too. I will do an episode on it. So here you go, guys. Pretty stinking good. And again, that rear control arm that was packed, you know, full of that, well, I'm going to call it Alabama potting soil. All that's gone. Bottom of the chassis, nice and clean. Same thing with, you know, the front A-arms. And again, with that chassis wash with the ceramic in it, you do get a nice level of ceramic protection. And let me check on some stuff with you guys. I want to swap this over. Magic in a bottle. Jason, with a live video, you kind of get an idea of what to do in the pits. Yeah, and exactly what I just did. Just spraying it down, you know, with the sprayer, hitting it with air. You get a nice clean between your rounds of qualifying, and especially after that morning practice, you know, when the track's still wet, you get that heavier buildup of clay and dirt. Mr. Ghost. You almost scared me for a minute, Heath, because I'm like, man, the freaking mic dropped out again, and I clicked the wrong button, but I get what you're saying now, man. Again, I'm going to move this camera, and let's make it just as big as possible. Show you guys how nice and clean. And this right here is what you can expect when using CowRC products, especially the Moose-Lick silicone. Like I say, I've still got just a little bit of dirt down in here, but again, this was literally just using the USB sprayer and then blowing it off with the jet vac. And you can do the same thing with the Jet Blaster Turbo. You see, like I've still got a little bit of dirt on my shock caps, but again, I didn't scrub anything. I didn't brush anything. I just sprayed on the chassis wash, let it sit, and let it work its magic. Go back here. All right. So, all right. Now I'm running out a little bit of time, guys. But one thing I do want to show you, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who brought this up earlier, about industrial cleaners leaving residue and being sticky, which, by the way, if you guys noticed, these are anodized J&T turnbuckles on my buggy. Never once have I had an issue with the chassis wash affecting that anodized finish. And I run those turnbuckles everywhere I have, or everywhere I can on my buggy. But with the industrial cleaners and degreasers leaving a residue and being sticky, a massive issue that I had with that was actually getting my wheel hexes off. Even when I'd blown everything, thought it was completely dry, I've literally had to take like a screwdriver, and I'll show you what I mean. Come in here behind the hexes and pry these guys off, because industrial cleaners like Simple Green, again, not knocking Simple Green, it's just common product we use. They're great at what they're designed for, but not for RC. These things would stick so bad that I would literally have to fight them off. So I'm going to swap over here one more time and show you guys just how easy it is to pull everything apart as much as I possibly can. Cow power, that's right. Great results. Thank you, Johnny. Again, just a quick, simple clean. But want to show you how easy the hexes come apart. So again, this was a big issue for me, was having these things stick, but just like that. I mean, they slide on nice and easy, because I actually got to the point that basically the barrels of my CV shafts, I was having to clean them with like a emery cloth to be able to get the hexes to be able to go back on. Had that issue as well, but not with Cal. Yeah, hey, glad that I'm not the only one, because that drove me absolutely nuts, was having those stick in there. And again, I'll pop off another one right here just to show you guys how easy everything comes off. So let's see, any other comments? So that's going to kind of wrap it up on the chassis cleaning part. So for me at this point, this is where I would begin my tabletop teardown. And again, if you guys caught the last episode, you know, I had mentioned how I'm a very big fan of basically breaking the buggy down into the front, the center, and the rear, just splitting the towers off of it. That's where I really like the 3-piece white mat setup from CowRC. I can tell you, I'm not going to have time to be able to do that. Granted, I can get this thing apart pretty quickly, but I'm not that fast. So maybe we'll pick up on that on the next episode. So again, guys, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Same thing. If you have any suggestions, something that you may want to see, you know, on this episode related to racing and CowRC, hit me up, guys. You can drop comments on here. Hit me up on social media on Facebook. Is usually the easiest way to get a hold of me. It's just Zack Cater. You'll find a profile picture of my buggy and my body. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. The same thing. Check out the CowRC fan page if you already haven't. I'm sure most of you guys probably have. If there's anything that you want to see racing and CowRC related. Johnny, thank you, sir. Shane, absolutely. Appreciate you guys, all your comments. It really means a lot to me. Back as much to you guys as I can and give you real world experience, use. I have to get in the A main like Johnny. You know I didn't make the A main at SIC. Definitely should have ran Sportsman. I could have made the A main there. Post on fan page. Absolutely, Bob. Any of you guys need help, go to the CowRC fan page on Facebook. That's a great tool to use for questions if you need to. Yeah, Johnny. Johnny going to rub it in that I finished in the C main at SIC. So, last few comments right here. AJ, again, thank you. Mr. Ghost, appreciate it. I'll drop all the nuggets that I can. So, again, guys, just going to wrap it up. I've got no other notes. There's very minimal notes for this show. But, again, just a great way that CowRC can give you guys a really nice, quick, call it a 5-minute clean. After you're done racing and you're heading home, you're ready to start tearing down on the bench. Or the same thing, if you're at the track and you're just wanting to keep up throughout the day, keep your buggy clean after that morning practice, after those qualifiers, before hitting that main. Because again, remember, dirt, clay, that's weight. It's going to weigh down your buggy. The same thing. You want everything, to move nice and smooth. You don't want any kind of stiction, any kind of friction. And that's where the chassis wash really comes into play. Racing is racing no matter what, man. That's true. I know Johnny's kind of like picking on me on that, but I finished in the C intermediate main at SIC, and you know what? I have no shame with it. I had a ball. Had a really good time racing a lot of guys down there. You never know. Bob, absolutely. your cleaning just showed how crucial the carbon mat is to have on you. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Mr. Ghost. Because my intention wasn't really to show off the carbon mat, to show off the chassis wash and the USB sprayer. But again, you guys, I'm gonna throw this up here. That is the 24x30 carbon mat, and just how well it works. Like you guys said, if you remember, that was a big reason that I wanted this mat, was to be able to do stuff like this at home. Because before I got this mat, it was outside in the driveway with the USB sprayer spraying everything down. But the 24x30 gives you a great option to be able to clean inside at your workbench. Johnny, that's awesome. I enjoyed watching. Thanks, Johnny. So, guys, again, that's gonna wrap it up for me. As always, you guys need anything, reach out to me, reach out on the fan page. Glad to help you guys in any way that I can. Jason, I have to work next Saturday. I will not be there for that race. Sorry, buddy. But aside from that, hopefully I'll see some of you guys out locally, at different tracks. Most of the local tracks have got their schedules, coming out and getting posted. So, hey, outdoor season is back right around the corner. And that's all I've got for you guys tonight. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully, it was fruitful to you and maybe help you make some decisions. Throat's starting to get dry. So see you guys in 2 weeks. Again, don't forget about the Operation 11 Charlie build, the giveaway build. Definitely take advantage of that, guys, on the CalRC website. Win yourself a sweet Traxxas. So until next time, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. God bless y'all.